What is going on, everyone? It's me, Natsu here, and we're back with some more Dokkan battle. Today, as the title would suggest, I am going to be taking a look at the top red zone Broly units, in my personal opinion, that could help you best beat the red zone stage. Now, some of these units are kind of JP exclusive. Some of them do come during the anniversary, but a good majority of the chunk of these units are actually on the global version, so it is good for both versions, right? Just kind of retouch and kind of know what units you should summon for in the future, maybe right now, stuff like that, right? To help prep you to beat these red zone stages. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. Just a quick breakdown of Broly overall as a boss. In all four phases of Broly, he does end up disabling evasion. This guy can be debuffed a little, but they all do a lot of super attack damage. Like, first phase, 575k. That's how much defense you need to tank this Red Zone Broly super attack in the first phase. It's quite incredible. From here, they cannot be stunned or debuffed, sealed or anything like that. He does 728k damage on a super attack. This SGR Broly does 840k. And is an AoE, so he attacks all your units on rotation regardless if they super attacked or not first, which could be quite dangerous depending on where he super attacks. For example, if he super attacks right before any of your units attack, you can potentially take a lot of damage, so you have to be careful with this phase. This AGL Broly can still double super in one turn, as you see, max 2 per turn. He does not AoE anymore, but his super attack damage jumps up dramatically by 400. It's actually like 360k, which is huge. This is the second highest super attack damage of a actual difficult boss, I believe, in the game. The highest is Omega with 1.5 million, but this guy could do 2 in one turn, so I think I find this more formidable. This is, in my opinion, the hardest win in the game, so I think it's good to make a video on this before it releases on global. Now, I have some honorable mentions I want to bring up. I have specifically 5 honorable mentions here. We'll just take a look here. They're not really ranked in order, just in general. Units I feel like could be good here. Physical Future Gohan. I think that he really got a huge improvement from having the new LR Vegeta and Trunks. That activates his full passive. He gets 58% damage reduction. He's just a very defensively strong unit with 13k defense, basically, right? And I just found him to be really good, even against super attacks, cutting basically half the damage, more than half the damage you would take on a super attack, is really powerful of an ability. And again, his defense is high enough where you could even get him to easily over 250k defense, 300k defense in the right situations. And with the damage reduction, this guy just, first he takes nothing from normals, then he takes very little damage from super attacks. The reason why I would say I don't have him in the top 10 is because the STR Broly phase, being the AoE phase, and probably arguably the most dangerous phase, can't leave this guy to get you killed. If you're using a Whis, in that situation, he'll take no damage, but it's just the fact that it kind of forces you to use an item if you do end up with him on rotation. And that can kind of suck, right? But other than that, this guy is incredible against all the phases. Even AGL Broly, he could definitely survive these super attacks with AGL Broly for under 300k damage I've seen, which is quite incredible. This Int Majin Vegeta, it's a similar thing to Physical Future Gohan. However, he doesn't have to worry about type disadvantage at all. I would say that his starter turn defense probably won't be nearly as high as the Physical Future Gohan, right? Which is one thing. But he does have a lot of extra defense once he super attacks, right? So that's something to keep in mind. He has the active skill, which will allow him to do some extra chip damage with the guaranteed crits for the turn. And I think that being a 200% leader skill, unit for this actual event is pretty important. Now, one last thing is, again, he is majorly improved by the LR Vegeta and Trunks, so that's a really good thing to get. And just to make sure you get the 6 orbs. As long as you get that stuff down, this Majin Vegeta could be quite a powerful option, especially against this phase right here, because you want to bring a lot of AGL units, right? So having an Int unit here to protect you could be a very smart idea, right? For the AGL units that are here, and you can help protect them with that. So I think that's just something that's good for him in terms of coverage and typings. AGL Kid Gohan, I think it's just very easy to kind of see what he does. He does stack defense permanently, very good. He does provide 3 key and 58% defense to all allies. His active skill can heal, again, support more defense to all allies, and give him the guard, right? I think the one thing about him, well, there's 2 things. One, doesn't do the most damage, which is not the worst thing if you're running a turtle stacking team, but he can not. I think his defense just won't stack high enough, and at the last phase, I think that, you know, no matter what, when he gets to the last phase, in most situations, this guy, unless he has like his active skill guard up or has really like double supered every turn or something, this AGO Kid Gohan would just get one shot straight up from this Broly. So that's just the unfortunate thing about it. But I think he provides too much to the teams, and he's obviously an AGO unit that stacks really good for the AoE phase. I think he's just too good not to include here on this list. It's just that he does have some holes in him at this point. I mean, he's literally just over a year old. You know, you can't really blame him for that, right? It just, units age out after time. That's how it is. LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. His EZA came out for the 4th anniversary, so you will be able to use him on global by the time this stage is actually out. His active skill just destroys the AoE phase, very, very important, and he could really be one of the best units for that AoE phase specifically. He's on a good amount of 200% leader skill teams. I think the issue with him is, again, kind of similar to AGO Gohan. If he gets tagged by a super by this AGO Broly, I feel like you're just kind of dead, right? This AGO Broly could just be like, hey, you're dead, and just kill this guy, right? His defense is not strong enough. I just think that if you want to survive AGO Broly, most of the time, without type advantage, just pure defense by itself is not strong enough. And this guy, his defense can get to like 400, you know, ish K or so, right? You know, I think that's kind of stretching it even itself, right? This guy can take damage from normals against AGO Broly, so obviously a super attack will do a lot. And he can't get his counter off to really defend himself from those super attacks, so that's the only thing about it. But I think he's just too strong with some of these top tier units as well in terms of linking and his damage, that he's just too good of a unit for the AoE phase as well to not include here. Along with that, his leader skill is actually, I think, pretty good for this Broly fight, right? So Goku's family is just a strong team, so that's just why I think he's not here. Golden Frieza, another unit. AGL, really good for the AoE phase with his damage reduction. I think it's fortunate is his active skill doesn't do as much damage as this Goku would, right? Because he has way less offensive base. I think that Goku actually might be a better option if we're going to rank them together, but he's on a lot of teams that could get 200% in the future. I think that he's on 2 teams that could work. Movie Bosses and Master Evolution could definitely be really, really powerful teams to use. It's just that if you do fall under 50% HP against that last phase, he will probably be a unit that can get you killed, because he'll only have the 30% damage reduction. But even above 50% HP in the final phases, this guy can tank AGO Broly supers, which is quite impressive for a type neutral unit. So I definitely like this Golden Frieza. I think he's a very, very powerful unit. And keep in mind that his defense can get up to 350%, and he has 15k defense, right? It's huge defensive stats. So defense with this guy is quite powerful. I do wish he had big bad bosses though. That would be something that would be really powerful for him. But yeah, that's pretty much the extra 5 units here. I just want to list as honorable mentions. I feel like it'd be criminal not to list them, but let's get into the actual top 10 ranking right here, right? So we have LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta at 10. People might be mad at this, but hear me out for a second. I think that the issue is they're physical, right? When you get to this AoE phase, especially even this tech phase, I think their defense is not good enough. I need to transform with this guy, right? I think that him being a physical unit in the top 10 is very, very powerful on its own. He just does too much. He disables the enemy's action. He can be super effective in both forms and triple super attack in both forms, right? When he's transformed, he has the actual, like, a good amount of crits here, but he's also, again, like I said, super effective against all types. He has the damage reduction, I think, is a really powerful thing right here. Getting this damage reduction per key spheres will allow him to take very little damage from normal attacks at the very least, and even against super attacks, it could help reduce what he would take from, like, AGO Broly. Though what I would say is, even against AGO Broly super attacks, this guy probably, again, would get one shot from most of the situations. Unless you have, like, a weak item, right, paired with his damage reduction built in, you could be looking pretty good. But I think that the issue is he can't dodge. If he could evade and counter, that would make this guy like 3 times better, because the AoE phase he would be able to counter, right, in that situation. AGO Broly, he'd be able to counter, right? And the issue is that he also doesn't really have a the greatest slot 1 units that are Super Saiyan 4 specifically to get him like Saiyan Roar, you know, GT, right? That means he kind of has to be in slot 1, but he's not really a slot 1 unit because you obviously want to get this out first, and then yeah, the disabled enemy actions is very powerful, but I think this is too good of a thing not to include him. This active skill turn is so insane. It's you guys on global haven't used this guy obviously yet, but this active skill could just single-handedly wipe out this Broly if you get really lucky, right? Him doing guaranteed crits for the turn, and then let's say he triple supers, right, with all guaranteed crits, raising his defense by like 200%. It's too much, and then his leader skill is too good as well. Even though he has type advantages against, arguably you could say, I think the AGL Broly phase is harder than the STR. I think arguably you could say the STR phase is harder than the AGL one. He's just too powerful. He's not a bunch of 200% leader skill teams. He has to be in the top 10. There's no way that he isn't. But I think that for Red Zone, you want to be stronger defensively than offensively, which is why I have this guy lower than, you know, I think other people would. But yeah, I think that might be a very controversial take, but we'll see what the comments say, guys. Next, we have Kumagoto again. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This guy, I feel like he'll consistently get you killed less than Gogeta. He could stun in the first phase, which will allow your units to really be able to build up. Which something I didn't mention about Ajo Kid Gohan, but he could stun as well. That's an important thing I guess I should bring up. But this stunning right there, and then the guard when there's Ginyu on rotation is just too good. You're going to run this guy next to Ginyu anyway, so he'll always have the guard. He has a damage reduction link as well, right? I believe it's the... Which link is it? Does he have a damage reduction link? He actually does not. I thought he did. No, he does. Loyalty. 5% damage reduction. Really good. Good defensive stat, right? A lot of defense that he gets from his links. Multiplicative stats. Like, raises defense for 1 turn. He just does too much. He can also seal the first turn. The first phase, which again will allow your units like to stack up, which is very important. I just think that he's just too good. Defensively, this unit is an absurd unit on the Ginyu Force team. They're easily the best founder unit in the game as well. And it's crazy to say that this guy for Broly would be better than this unit, but I think that's really true. I think this guy will be able to really carry that slot 1 for you, which is a really important thing for these fights, right? Well, not every unit has to be a slot 1 unit. We obviously do need these slot 1 units. And for this Ginyu Force team, this guy is a perfect slot 1 unit to help Ginyu build up his defense and everything like that, right? So I really like this guy. I think that the only issue with him is probably that he just doesn't do too much damage. While I feel like the rest of his team does carry in the damage aspect, especially Ginyu, this guy not doing too much damage, you know, could cause you to... Because he doesn't necessarily need to stall, right? He just gets 5 hits and he builds up. It can cause you, if you don't do enough damage, to really again and get caught a little bit by an extra super attack or something. But I think this guy is just way too good not to mention as well. Next up, Goku/Gohan. I feel like you could argue this guy to be above him. I just think that, again, this guy is a 200% leader skill unit, is really strong. And the issue is really Goku. He needs to super attack 3 times. And you really need to be careful because he can't evade here. He really relies on the evasion after super attacks, which is a massive thing. But you have to consider in the first phase you can't stun. So if you build this guy with full additional, say you get like a double super attack, you stun. That not only helps your whole rotation, but it helps this guy from taking the attacks that he literally just cannot take. And if you're in a really stalling team that this guy will actually run, I think a stalling team is the best option for this unit. You can bring this guy out fast, and this guy is definitely, I feel like, better than the Guro unit, because he's very strong defensively as well, probably on par with him, but he also does have way more damage than I feel like he does, and he doesn't have to technically rely on another unit to be on rotation with him, so it'll allow you to be more flexible in case you need to move a unit to a certain slot if there's a lot of attacks in like the 3rd slot, for example, right? He can't counter here, unfortunately, but I don't think he needs it because he takes like no damage anyways, right? And he's just an absurd unit, I think, overall. He's also on a good amount of these 200% leader skill teams. He's actually not on the Battle of Fate team, which I feel like makes sense because it's the Goku categories, right? But it does suck he's not on Battle of Fate. I think you could make the argument he should be on there, but it's whatever. I guess it's only like the super perfect Cell, kind of the clash between Gohan and Cell, right? Because even that Vegeta, the Vegeta that gets mad that Cell kills Trunks, he's not on the Battle Fate team, so whatever. But I think he's just too strong defensively, and if you guys have used this Gohan, you know how good he is, right? I don't even have to explain anymore. Above him, I do have Tech Gohan, which is funny. I just think that Tech Gohan with the stacks will allow him to probably more consistently take better damage against this Broly phase. Especially the final phase, he'll just be a really strong slot 1 ace for you as well. I spoiled the Getting Maxim, but whatever. And when he transforms, he can be super effective, which could be good for the AoE phase to allow you to do more damage. I think that, again, his Link set is pretty good as well, right? He gets a lot of defense from Links, which is a very strong thing. How to make a quick cut there, but yeah. Continuing on with this Gohan, I think him having just unconditional guard is just way too strong, and the greatly stacking will allow him to be probably better defensively than this unit, especially since he has type advantage at the end, right? Having type advantage here will allow him to, I think, just do way better, right? I think that's just too important of a thing to consider. And yeah, even if you're stack up with them, like this greatly stacking attack, by the time you get here, I just think that he does incredible damage, even to Broly, right? Well, okay, let me revise that. He does solid damage to Broly. He does definitely not incredible damage, but I've seen this guy at the end of this event, for when I use him, get like 8 million attack sets or something, which could be doing a solid chunk of damage to Broly, right? Especially if you get a Dokkan attack off with them. He's on a solid amount of teams as well, right? He's on the Buu Saga team, Bond Parent and Child, Goku Family team, right? They're all strong 200% leader skill teams, right? I just think that Tech Gohan, he's absurd. It's crazy how good he has aged, and he will continue to age very well. What can I say? He's also key self-sufficient as well. Just this guy's good. Very, very good. Again, I think these three you could really mix around for sure. These three. This is just a placement I have on them personally, but I think for sure this next unit, Captain Ginyu, is just a step above these units for the Red Zone Broly specifically. His 30% stack, being able to triple super attack during the turns. His leader skill is just absurdly powerful. The Ginyu Force team is absolutely crazy. He has the mid-turn heal by going into Ginyu Goku. Then he can potentially get the Scouter as well, which is such a stupid ability, giving him the Scouter as well on top of everything he does. He won't be able to evade, but he'll get a 50% crit chance. He could still triple super here. Like, what were they thinking? He gets a good amount of defense from Links, if you take a look here, right? And the damage reduction can be quite powerful. He hits hard, he's super effective. Like, come on. He also supports the Ginyu Force team. Like, this Ginyu Force team is quite powerful. Because, like, this guy, he got it easy, he's absurd for the Broly fight. This guy is really good for the Broly fight. I think this guy even is pretty solid. This Agio Ginyu, right? You can run the Agio Golden Friezas on this team as well. I don't know what to say. This Ginyu is just incredible. He's doing like 7 million attacks. That's super effective here. Stacking. Like, if he gets a triple super attack, that's 90% defense he gets for the turn. That's like massively stacking defense if he does get lucky like that, which is absurd. And he really does shoot through the event really fast. He's, of course, incredible for the AoE phase, doing tons of damage and being able to really tank that phase. And with the mid-turn heal, he can help you against, you know, recovering from this phase against the AGL phase. His issue is here. He may not be able to stack up enough to really handle this tech phase sometimes. But I feel like a lot of situations, I've seen situations where he tanks this tech Broly still. And with his super effective, he's able to get you to that phase really fast. So I really like this Ginyu for this fight. I just think that he's too good. He's just too good, right? His design is absurd. I do have the Androids above him here, though. Because, one, you don't have to worry about stacking with them, because these two, the hardest phases, do beam super attacks. While these two don't, you could seal this phase, and their defense, I feel like, is good enough to be able to be fine against this phase specifically. They orb change, which will allow them to heal for you. They have tap advantage at the end, so they'll do some solid damage. They're on the really powerful Androids team. They could delay this attack, so what you could do is you could delay this guy's AoE and just like destroy him in a turn. Like that's just a powerful ability. You could delay this guy's attack, get like a Dokkan attack in the first phase against him, and just destroy him, right? The nullification is just way too powerful. It's way too good. One unit I guess I didn't bring up is the 19 and 20. I think they're also an honorable mention I should have brought up in the first place. But yeah, I guess I'll talk about them right now, the 19 and 20, right? Just to kind of bring them up real quick. But this unit just does a nuking, self-sufficient unit. Their defense can get like absurdly high after they super attack, and they just take 0 damage from supers, right? The nullification doesn't count for dodging, right? This is just nullified. What can I say? This unit is just that good. You look at them, this huge passive, and you're like, okay. I really like these Android units. Next, we have the Goku and Gohan LR. I think this unit is also kind of a step above the rest of these guys in a sense, just because they have this active skill turn like the LR, Super Saiyan 4, the LR Gods as well. They're going to do way more damage than the LR Super Saiyan 4, I feel like, duo, just because they have type advantage, right? They could triple super attack very easily and get like 90% extra defense during the turn. They just do tons of damage as a nuking unit. They can get crit chances here in their passive. They get this stupid ability, which will allow them to hit 24 key very easily. They have a very strong link set. They're on multiple 200% leader skill teams as well. Well, they're technically not on the 200% for this one, but they're like the best partner with the Vegeta and Trunks unit, I feel like. But the only issue that this guy has to super attack first. But again, if you're considering using items, right, this guy could do fine against the SDR phase. Along with that, he'll just do too much damage and just destroy this SDR Broly as well. I think against this AGO Broly, he just destroys him as well. I think this guy is just way too good for this phase. Again, I feel like you can mix up a lot of the units in this tier right here, but this guy is just way too good, right? Just when you actually use him in game, you just see how powerful he really is. But yeah, this guaranteed crit turn is just sort of ability that a lot of these units have been getting. I really like this guy. I think that he's a perfect like slot 2-3 unit, which are still important to have slot 2 and 3 units, I feel like, for sure. Next we have Tech God Goku. It just takes no damage against Broly, right? You can put him on a teams without a leader skill and he does fine, right? Damage is one thing that really, like, him doing damage himself though is one thing that holds him back, but him providing the orb changing, he seals the first turn, which will allow you to do very well. Strong link set, he's not a lot of these 200% leader skill teams. I think you could even argue him as the best unit for Broly. I just think that these two units above him just kill him in the damage department and are probably, I don't know. Because this guy against, we'll talk about him. This guy, the AoE phase, he'll take a lot of damage. But I think against the last phase right here, he has type advantage, right? So he tanks relatively well and does way more damage. So I think I will have him above him. But this Tech God Goku is just a stupid good unit, right? I really love his design. And as long as you get the 2 rainbow orbs with him, he can tank extremely well against all the phases. What a stupid design unit. And this unit, he has a really good leader skill for this fight, right? The stacking is really good. He's just like, if Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was tech, he'd be right next to this guy, right? Or, something like that, right? When he transforms, the guaranteed double super attacks will allow you to really get through a lot of these phases. You can't be super effective, giving 16 key, which is very easy to get. The one issue is that he can't actually evade in this fight, which does suck because you can get a pretty high chance of evading hopes once you actually do that. But again, him having the disable enemy action is quite powerful. The guaranteed double super will allow his defense to get up very, very high. This guaranteed crits is just so powerful. If you somehow are able to get it off the AGL fight and get past the AoE Broly fight, he just kills, right? He just kills Broly because he's type advantage as well. Very strong link set for the team. All these like category teams. Again, him being tech, like if he was like physical, he would be down here with the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I feel like. But because he's tech, it's just way better. He's also better defensively than Gogeta, right? I feel like overall, because he has a higher defensive stat as well. But along with that, him being a really good partner for this guy also helps him because he has just a better slot 1 partner to use with him compared to this Gogeta, right? For this fight specifically, I think that's really, really important for the AoE phase. So yeah, that's basically why I have this guy as a second unit. Obviously, number 1 right here is the Vegeta and Trunks unit. They're new, but like their team is just the best team in the game by far. They have the guard permanently, stack defense, tech Gohan-esque ability. You put them in slot 1 against slot 1 is very important. In this fight, it's like the most important than any other fight in the game because of his AoE, super attack, right? It's just such an important thing. Giving this defense by 20% for 1 turn is multiplicative and just stupid as well. His active skill could be activated pretty solidly in this Broly fight. And then he could triple super, guaranteed crit and everything. His defense, I've seen like get to like 700k with guard, which is like Tech Gohan on his level. But he does like actual like millions more damage. He has crit in his passive. His team is way better. He has a very strong, basic, solid link set. Like, come on. This guy is just too good. I think this is the best unit in the game. And obviously one reason for this is because how good he is against Adriel Broly. Although he won't do as much damage, I feel like, as this guy. And I think for this phase specifically, you could even argue this guy is better as well. Just because he has type advantage, he does way more damage, he can clear through the event faster. I just think that defensively, this guy is just too good. And that's really it, And he does... Yeah, it's not like this guy does no damage. He does pretty solid damage so for an LR like that. And with the crits, he'll be able to definitely do... Like, if he gets these crits off, it's basically the same as having type advantage. So, that's pretty much it. That's my top 10 units for the red zone. Again, you can kind of shift units around in certain situations, certain phases, right? But I think I feel pretty confident in this list. Of course, I want to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below. Let me know who you would think would be the top 10 units for Red Zone Broly. Thank you all for watching until the end if you did. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.